Yo, what's going on YouTube? We've got some big Minnesota Twins news, and it involves Edouard Julien. He's headed to the majors. He is on his way to the show. And this maybe comes at a little bit of a surprise, but not really, because when you look at the situation, it kind of sucks for the Twins, but it's the only move that's really possible. So let's talk about it. But first, if you guys enjoy Twins news, MLB news, or just enjoy these videos, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps me out, and leave a comment as well. I'd love to talk to you guys about baseball, specifically the Twins. So Edouard Julien on his way to the show. He will take the spot of Joey Gallo, who has been injured the last few days and is now headed to the 10-day IL. Man, the Twins are hurt. They are not healthy right now. They are not really looking like a good baseball team. And, you know, this is one of their biggest bats that goes down. So, huge disappointment for the Twins. Let's talk about Gallo first. He was their primary first base guy, I would say. Yes, you have Miranda. Yes, you have Solano, who is going to be playing first base probably now. I mean, almost exclusively. Maybe he and Miranda will, switch. But it's going to mainly be those two guys. And, of course, you don't have Kirilloff, so that's what you have to roll with. But Gallo was good this year. He already collected .2 WAR in 18 at-bats. And that's because he had 5 hits, 3 of them being home runs, 7 RBI, an OPS of 1.1, and an OPS plus of 219. Yes, I get it. It's literally the second week of the season. This is super, super early. But he was, along with Larnack, the two guys that were just smoking the ball. Buxton already hit a home run tonight in the game against the White Sox and has been really good at the top of the lineup. But really there hasn't been much offense, right? So Gallo going down is huge. It's so important that they fill that spot with somebody who can, do some damage. I don't know if that is Julien, so other guys are going to have to step up in his place, but that's a big bat that they're losing, okay? And also with Kepler going down, now you're running out of outfield spots as well. Things just are not looking good for the Twins roster. And also Correa's hurt. It's just, that's a whole video in and of itself. But if you look at the 40-man roster right now, the Twins only have one guy on the 40-man roster that can play the infield because Polanco's hurt, right? This isn't recent news. He's been hurt for a while. Royce Lewis is hurt. Correa is now hurt. So you've got Solano, Miranda, Gordon, Farmer, and Correa, he's not on the IL yet or anything, right? But that's your infield. And then if you go down to Joey Gallo and you include him in the infield too because he's listed as an outfielder or whatever, the only guy that is able to be called up from the 40-man roster is Edouard Julien, right? He's the only guy. And he was lifted from the AAA game earlier today. So that just tells you knew he was going to come up. And this guy is a story, right? This guy is the definition of you try and you will make it if you are good enough. Because he is one of the top Twins prospects. You've got Brooks Lee at number 1. I think Royce Lewis is number 2. Emmanuel Rodriguez is 3. And then Edouard Julien is number 4. So you get your 4th ranked prospect coming up for the Twins. He is an 18th rounder out of Auburn. So a good baseball college, but 18th round. He's 23 years old. He's a lefty, which is big because you're replacing the lefty of Gallo, but he's not a power guy. He's done really well in the minors, pretty much across all levels, and that's why he quickly rose to the top of the prospect list. But in 29 at-bats over the course of his minor league season so far, has 9 runs, 8 hits, 2 home runs, 3 RBI, and a stolen base. That's a .276 average and an OPS of 934. That's definitely worthy of being called up, and we talked about this earlier too. You knew that he was going to get a chance this year, and on it, like, he was on the 40-man roster and looked like he might have earned a spot at the beginning of spring training. He was not, he wasn't designated yet. He wasn't sent back to the minors. It looked like he might have gotten an opening day opportunity, especially with Royce Lewis going down and other things. I've talked about that a little bit in my videos prior to the season, but he had a great spring too, and I don't have the spring training stats in front of me, but hit a couple of home runs. I mean, you can go back on the channel and there are videos. I think he hit 2 home runs in one game, had another game with a couple of home runs as well. He was good. He could hit the ball for power, and he's not really a power guy. He's 6 foot 195, right? But can hit the ball for power. He's fast. He's got a good glove at second base. And that's the thing we'll cover in 1 second, but also hit a home run for Team Canada. I believe that was the game that they played the United States, and they lost like 12-1. He was the only guy who produced any offense. So it's very clear the offense is there. And like I said, he's going to have to step in, or somebody else is going to have to step in for Gallo. But, and I, like I said, I don't want to compare Julien to Gallo because he's not the same guy. I don't think he's trying to be the same guy. But he's going to have to be a guy who steps in and produces, right? And I think he can do that. The only problem is, what I was alluding to a little bit, is he's a second baseman, right? He is not a first baseman. He is not really an outfielder. There's 2 problems with that. 1, you're needing to fill the first base and outfield position. And 2, if he does go play outfield, it's like, is he going to get hurt like Royce Lewis did? That's my biggest concern with this. More than likely, Castro hasn't really played a ton. I'm guessing he's just up there until one of these guys comes back. But, like, now that they have Julien up here, if he produces right away, he could stay. And I really believe that. This isn't a Royce Lewis situation where they just brought him up to, fill the gap. I think if Julien stays, he would stay over a guy like, well, you probably need Wallner in the outfield. But like, I just said his name, Castro. Like, he might stay. And maybe he doesn't because he's young or whatever. And Castro has more experience. We'll have to see. But it'll be really interesting where they put Julien and how he performs. And I hope he does well. I hope this is like a Royce Lewis situation where he came up, hit right away, got involved, was fire out of the gate in his first, 14 games. So I hope that is the case, but I just hope they don't put him in the outfield. They have Wallner out there who is taking the spot of Kepler, but now Gallo going down. You do kind of need another substitute outfielder. I guess Nick Gordon could probably fill that position, and Miranda and Solano would still take first. So I think this is more of a let's get him some at-bats. It's time. He's our only other option, right? But it's also like I don't think he's ready, okay? And maybe that's another video in and of itself, but he's ready to be in the show. I don't know if he's ready to stay there, but if he does well, I think he would stay there. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. Again, it depends on the situation with service time and what they want to do with Castro and how good he performs, I guess, and where they need him. But I'm hopeful. Out of everything I just said, I hope he does well. I hope he stays, and he could be the future at second base, right? This could determine a lot with what Polanco has going forward, right, next year, and arbitration or trade deadlines or all these kind of questions that bring up, what do you do with Polanco now? A lot of speculation. There's still a lot to happen, but some good news if you're a Twins fan to see the number 4 prospect and number 96 prospect in the top 100 get called up. So exciting stuff for the Twins fans. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what your thoughts are on Julien. What do you think is going to happen to him? And I guess we'll go from there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.